Howdy, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a new legendary campaign for Total War Warhammer 2, and this is going to be a legendary kroq-gar campaign for the Lizardmen. So let's go ahead and get on in here. If you're new to the channel, I run my campaigns a little bit differently from other campaigns that are out there on YouTube. I always play on legendary, but not only that, I promise you I'm not going to cheese the AI in any way. So what that means is I'm not going to abuse the auto-resolve system. I'm not going to sit there and multi-sack towns to power level my lords early on. I'm not going to use sleazy siege tactics where I exploit line of sight or anything like that. I'm not going to assassinate lords and then attack their armies with my armies. So I'm going to do the best that I can to create a nice, fun, challenging campaign. I'm going to go out and deliberately seek difficult fights. I'm not going to hide in my town and just try to power up as much as I can. I'm going to play as aggressively as I possibly can without throwing the campaign. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for very difficult fights, and we're going to get a lot of difficult fights. So I have a Skaven campaign as well. I'll link it in the description if you want to check that out. That's my first legendary campaign. I'm still in progress working on that. It's a lot of fun, but I just want to play at least two at once. I think playing more than two is, I can't put out an episode every day if I do more than two, but I think I can do two and put out one per day. Also, I want to make sure that I have updated fresh content as soon as new DLC drops. So as soon as the DLC drops with like new lords and things like that, I want to be able to play a campaign with that. Okay, so anyways, all that out of the way, it's going to be a great campaign. It's a lot different than other YouTube campaigns, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay, so why kroq-gar? Why the Lizardmen? Well, the most important thing on Legendary is unit upkeep. That is the #1 consideration by far, because they just started this in Warhammer 2 where you have an extra 20% upkeep cost on everybody, no matter what, at the beginning, and then each additional army is 15% upkeep cost on everybody from the very beginning. So versus Warhammer 1, there was no base upkeep cost increase, and it was only 5% for each additional army. For most factions, some factions, there was no additional cost for each army. Some of the Horde factions, and I think it was just the Horde factions, maybe Bretonia as well. I don't know. There were some factions where there was no extra upkeep. On this one, there is a truckload of upkeep costs, so you have to have cost reduction on any lord if you're going to play a serious legendary campaign without exploits, especially. So kroq-gar is one of the best legendary lords in the whole game, or legendary lords for a legendary campaign in the whole game. And the reason for that is he gets 10% on all units, no matter what. That's amazing. And then he gets an additional, and that's for everyone, not just him as a lord. That's for everybody. So this is the most powerful faction effect in the whole game, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to find something else that would be more impressive for Legendary. It sounds so basic, but it's so important. Yeah, I think it's easily the best faction effect in the whole game. And then he gets an additional 50% off for Saurus Warriors and Cold Ones. This is going to be the backbone of my army. Saurus are so powerful. It's the best tier 1 infantry in the game. We're going to have a ton of those. And Cold Ones are some of the best cavalry in the game. And then some of the later game units that we're going to do, he also gives them plus 20 armor. So it's not upkeep, but it dang well buffs them a lot. And he gets plus 10 leadership for everything in his army, which is massive. And an additional plus 10 for your later game units. Your Stegodon, your Bastiladon, Pterodon, and Carnosaur. So that's insane. Like, that's so good. It's extra combat capabilities and extra cost for your most important units you're going to get. And it gives plus 10 leadership. I just said that. Plus 10 leadership for everything, and you get an extra ambush chance. We're probably not going to ambush that much, but when we want to, that's going to be really nice to have that too. So yeah, just absolutely insane bonuses. Very, very good. Versus Mazdamundi, who the Star Chambers are not that expensive. This is really bad. It means everyone wants to fight you early on. Right cost, I'm not going to be using the rights that much. They're not really that impressive, honestly. Slan Mage Priest is okay. And then 50% off for one unit that's a tier 4 unit that's really underwhelming. It might even be tier 5. It's really underwhelming. Halberd Infantry is not that great most of the time. You do need like maybe 1 or 2 halberds, but they're not going to be the core of your army. So kroq-gar is infinitely better than Mazdamundi, especially on Legendary. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. We'll watch it, and then talk a little bit about strategy. We'll fight some, and then we'll talk more about strategy.
Since the days of creation, the reptiles have dominated the jungle continent. continent of Lustria. The ignorant call the creatures Lizardmen. The wise know them as defenders of the world. In ages past, the Old Ones had a plan. But then the stellar gates collapsed, the Old Ones fled, and demons flooded the mortal plane. Led by the Slan, the Lizardmen fought the demons that surged across Lustria. Yet, it was the elves that created the Great Vortex. A swirling maelstrom that siphoned the world of chaos, withering demonkind. The world was saved, but the vortex endures only because it is bolstered by the power of the Slan, via the Great Warding. If the warding should fail, the demons will return.
The forked tongue of Sotek hangs low in the sky. The Slan have felt it. Now I see it. Brighter, clearer. Its hiss disturbs the winds of magic. Yogg-Tagrax, the sacred plaques. One prophecy shines above all others. Vortex of the warm blood. But the full meaning cannot be deciphered. If our master will not wake, we journey to the city of the sun.
All right, there we go. And just another big point about my campaign that differentiates it from a lot of other campaigns, it's going to be a little slower. And the reason is I don't abuse auto-resolve or do the other tricks that I talked about, so it takes longer. But I also explain everything that I'm doing and my entire thought process so that people can really learn from it, so that you can play your own legendary campaigns or even lower difficulties and really enjoy yourself a lot more, appreciate the game more, perform better. You know, it's here to make you a better player. So I do want it to be entertaining. I'll go ahead and skip this. He's just basically going to tell me just conquer everything around. And we will be on it, sir. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to make you be a better player, to help you become a better player, and to help you enjoy the game more. So we're going to have some good fights. It's going to be entertaining, I hope. But that's just a little bit different because almost nobody out there that plays it on Legendary is going to explain why they're doing what they're doing. To help you learn how to play better when you play your own campaigns. So, let's go ahead and get into it here. Okay. So we talked about kroq-gar. He has all these bonuses. Another important thing just structurally, as far as Legendary Lords go, the Fighter Lords are almost always better than the Mage Lords. And the reason is, early on, especially on Legendary, you need to be able to fight. You need to be able to get in there and make up for the fact that the enemy is going to have a ton of extra bonus stats, and a lot of advantages on you. I will put the advantages in the comments to the description. I have it in my Skaven campaign, but I'll tell you what all of the buffs are that the enemy receives and the debuffs that you receive for Legendary. They get a lot of extra stats in combat and on the campaign map. So whereas I get a bunch of debuffs in terms of my income, so like look at these Stegodons. They're like 374, 300. These are usually 200 in cost. If you look here on the little tab, where are they? I think they are right here. They're 250, but now they're 300 because it's an extra 20%, right? So 1/5 of 250 is 50, so that's why it costs 300. So it's 20% extra for everything, and they get a ton of extra money on Legendary and Warhammer 2. I mean, you'll see these dwarves with like one town fielding like 320 stacks. They get a lot of stuff, so it is really, really hard if you're not exploiting anything to succeed on Legendary in Total War Warhammer 2. Okay, but let's talk... now, I can go over here and smash these guys level 1 if I want to. The problem is this is going to be Skaven, and they're going to have backup. I've even done it to where I've smashed them, run them into the town, smash them, and then taken the town, smash the town. But then the issue is there's going to be beastmen in here that are also hostile to me, and there's another Skaven clan in here that'll come up and attack the town. So I just don't have enough with only 7 units to get in there and crush them fast enough. Also, there is a town up here that's uninhabited, and when I complete this, when I do everything up here, I'm not going to be able to hire a second lord on Legendary anytime soon. So I'm not going to be able to take this town anytime soon. So what I want to do is go up here first, colonize this, and then run back down here and deal with the Skaven after I've hired a couple more Lizardmen. So usually I like the challenge of just going in and just going for fights in most campaigns right away. But the fact that I don't want to have to backtrack, because if I take this down here and then somehow miraculously they don't kill me the next turn, I'm going to have to backtrack to hire more units. Well, I guess here I could hire units, but I'm going to have to backtrack eventually if I want to gain this town. And that's just going to be really annoying. So we're just going to go ahead early on and just dash over here and take that as fast as we possibly can. This will let us put our skink with our army as well, because if we attack on the first turn, we can't have the skink in our army. Who's actually pretty important, because he has Magic of the Heavens, which is pretty decent. Like, you get harmonic convergence right off the bat with him. Roiling Skies is absolutely amazing. It gives everybody on the map minus 22 melee defense for 25 seconds every time you cast a spell. And Curse of the Midnight Wind is also great. So that gives everyone another 26 melee attack and minus 30 armor for 25 seconds. That's one of the best spells in the game, and it affects everyone in a 40-yard radius. So this is going to absolutely shatter Skaven. Clan Rats only have 25 armor, so this is going to put them at -5 armor, and it's going to make sure they just never hit us. So Midnight combined with Harmonic, which is not like insanely powerful, but it's pretty dang good. You can put that on your Lord, and they can just face tank a lot of stuff. But basically, every 25 seconds, you want to cast something to keep this Roiling Skies going. So just every 25, you want to cast either Harmonic Convergence or Curse of the Midnight Wind, just so you keep that debuff, because that's everyone on the whole map gets that debuff. Oh, it's only flying. Oh, God, I just realized that. Never mind, not as OP as I thought. I forgot. I didn't read that it's only flying. I was like, oh my God, that's OP for ground people. It's only flying. Okay, fair enough. So if they have a huge flying army, then it's really good. I was about to say, how did I never notice that before, that that's that overpowered? Because it only affects flying. Okay, gotcha. So that's going to be really good later on when we have to fight dragons and such from the High Elves. But for now, not as overpowered, just decent. But either way, this is the Midnight Wind is really good, and Harmonic Convergence is okay. So the other stuff is kind of whatever. It's not amazing, but it's okay. It's better than nothing. Nice, you get 4 extra fireballs with that. That's pretty good. So the skinks are okay. They're not super overpowered. You can put them on a Stegodon, though, which is great. That'll give you 1 more monstrous beast. So he's useful to have around. Let's talk about the buildings really quickly, and then we'll go take the Cursed Jungle. I'm going to spread it out. I'll talk about buildings, and then we'll do something. We'll like go to the Cursed Jungle, then we'll run down here, Then I'll talk about text. Then we'll run down there and get into a fight. So I'm going to split it up over 2 episodes, like explaining what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Let's look at the buildings first. So the most important thing is money and lowering upkeep costs. That's the primary #1 thing you have to do on Legendary. The other thing that you have to deal with is public order. So you want to get public order as high as you possibly can, because you're going to get -8 difficulty on Legendary, and then you always get -4 for taxes. So you're going to be looking at -12 in every town. And that's if there's no corruption, if there's no vampiric or chaos corruption or Skaven corruption or anything like that. So you have to find ways to deal with this. So this would give us growth. It doesn't give you any tradable resources, but it gives you a lot of growth and casualty replenishment, which is okay. This gives you a little bit more growth, though, and it gives you a technology, and you can upgrade it to other things. So you can build this in a secondary town, though, as well. So I don't know. It's a tough call, because this does give you 30 growth, whereas this only gives you 20. You need growth to level up your towns, obviously, so that's powerful. So we'll think about that. Your other starting units, or your starting things, you have to get buildings to get certain techs, which we'll point out here in a little bit. The main tech we want is spawning the Sacred Caverns, because that's going to give us a lot of Saurus upgrades. And we want a lot of Saurus because we get 50% off of those, and that's the backbone of your army. They're so strong. I mean, look at these stats. 60 armor on a level 1, 10,000 health, 52 weapon strength, and then 28 in terms of melee attack and defense. So that's decent melee attack and defense. That is insane weapon strength. Most units that are tier 1 are going to have, like, you know, they're going to deal, like, maybe 28 damage or something like that. Now, there's only 100 in a stack, whereas Skaven Clan Rats have 160. But that armor compared to Clan Rats, they have 60 armor compared to 25 on Clan Rats, and they have 75 leadership. So they're really good. They're not very fast, but these are the sturdiest, like, hardest hitting melee frontline you can get. And there are lots of upgrades you can get for them too. So very, very powerful. You can get them with spears also, which gives more defense, but it lowers your weapon strength by quite a lot, by 10, I believe, right? Yeah, 52 down to 42. So you lose 10 weapon strength. You get, and you lose 4 melee attack. So you lose a lot. You lose 4 melee attack and 10 weapon strength, but you gain 15 versus large. So you would deal 57 versus large, and you have 39 melee attack against large. So you don't want to be using a lot of the spears. We might have 1 or 2 of those just to kind of deal with some large units if they have rat ogres or something. But I think that one of those clans does have a pack of rat ogres too. So we want to have, you know, a couple of spears, but not many. And then getting these with shields, it's just marginally more. It's just 13 more gold, and it does give you 6 more melee defense. So it does give you 25% or 35% missile block. So if they're firing, like, arrows into you, it's basically going to block 35% of that damage over time. Has a 35% chance of reducing all damage. But the most important thing, I think, is getting the extra 6 melee defense, which is really, really nice. So, yeah, getting to those with shields is going to be our bread and butter for our army. And this eventually upgrades into Temple Guard that are okay. I don't get a discount on them. As you see, they're 300 gold eventually. They're Halberd Infantry, which attack very slowly. They do get a huge bonus against large of 16. I believe they have a range of 2, so 2 columns of them can attack at the same time, not just the front row. I believe that's how Halberds worked in Warhammer 1. That's an unspoken perk of them. But they still attack very slowly, and they have just marginal benefits over normal Saurus Warriors. They do have a little bit more armor. Of course, they have a little bit more melee attack, a little bit more defense. They have more armor piercing, but they are like 50% more in cost. So we might have 1 or 2 of these floating around later, but it's going to be rare. We don't get half off on them, and I think that Saurus Spears will just be able to do a similar job most of the time. Scar Veteran's okay. He's not the best hero out there in the world. We're not going to be in a huge rush to pick him up. You know, he does have training, which gives you extra, like, experience over time. It's generally, that's pretty weak. I'm not sure what Honored Elder is. Oh, all provinces get +1 public order. Okay, well, we'll get one of them then, because they get the public order. He's a decent fighter. Public order is a big deal, so we'll get it. He can ride a Carnosaur. That's actually pretty strong. You could run one of him instead of running a Carnosaur. So we'll get him. He's immortal as well if you get to level 20. So if he dies, whatever. What is the agility of the lizard? Okay, missile resist. Is this physical resist or something? Magic resist. Yeah, magic resist. Yeah, so he's primarily a fighter. He doesn't offer a lot of buffs to your armory. He doesn't look like he has a lot of magic or anything like that. So he's pretty generic. He's an okay fighter, and I think even just his ability to get the extra public order for everybody might be a good enough reason to get him. And he can ride a Carnosaur, so we'll pick him up, but he's not going to be super game-breaking. So yeah, that's going to be tier 4 eventually. And we have to get this building anyways because it's part of a tech called Determining the Great Plan where you have to have 3 different buildings for it, so that's pretty decent. But yeah, we'll get this early. We'll go ahead and start this up because we want to get that technology soon, and I want to start upgrading with the shields. Okay. Next, we have Skink Cohort. Now, these are interesting because they are missile infantry. They don't have a lot of ammo. These, like, literally only have 3. And then they come in and you can fight with them. So they're not great fighters. They're 24 in terms of fighting. Their leadership's only 55. They do poison damage, so it's okay. They're pretty fast at 46. So normal Saurus warriors are only 31. But we don't get half off on them. And these are like the cudgel infantry. They only cost 75. Once again, they're a lot weaker, though. Much less armor, leadership, way less melee attack, way less weapon strength. So they are cheap, but when we get 50% off on these, and they're only 100, and these are 75, you just, there's no reason to buy these. I mean, if you were Mazdamundi or something, you might have to buy these because Saurus Wars would be too expensive. But as kroq-gar, we don't have to worry about that. Now, these are a little bit more interesting. These are 100, and we might buy these, and the reason is these are skirmishers. So they're going to have 26 ammo. They can fire while moving. Now, they might be able to fire while they're running away. I'm not sure. They're pretty fast at 48. And they apply poison. So this reduces damage dealt. So if you hit people in the back with this poison, then it's going to reduce their damage by 20%. So this is going to be pretty nice for flanking around and hitting people in the back. So yeah, they are pretty weak to other missile infantry because they don't have a lot of armor. They don't have shields. They can't fight very well, but they have pretty good ammo. So these are pretty good kind of harassment units. We'll probably want to run 1 or 2 of those. We want the technology for it eventually. And we do want this building because it's going to give us kroq-gars once we get to tier 4. These are very strong, like, frontline, beat-em-up infantry. We don't get a discount on them. And we don't get any extra bonuses, so, you know, stegodons, in theory, are probably going to be a bit stronger. These are still only 200, 250, rather. So these are very strong. You'll see just how strong they are. We have one in our starting army, and they are very, very good. They have really heavy armor. They have decent speed, 46, so stronger than Saurus warriors, and they just beat the living daylights out of infantry. They get plus 18 against infantry, so they really deal 102 damage, most of which is armor piercing, and they have 44 melee attack. So these just absolutely shred infantry units. They're one of those 16 stack monsters infantry that you can get around tier 3. They're tier 4 actually, but these are usually the best units in the game most of the time for most factions. So if you look back and you think about the rat ogres for the Skaven core unit, you think about the crypt horrors for vampire counts core units, ice trolls for Norska. These like 12 to 16 stack monstrous infantry units are no joke. They are really, really strong, and they almost always cost about 200, between 200 and 250 gold, and they are a fantastic bargain, almost always, and the kroq-gars are no exception. And they have the siege attacker. So this is going to let us take down towns really quickly early on. They have a lot of siege attackers, stegodons and feral bastillodons. One of the things that I don't like about the high elves and the dark elves is they don't have good siege units. They have artillery that you can use to siege, but I don't know. It just kind of forces you to use archery and I don't know. It just kind of forces cheese tactics. It doesn't force it, but it really highly encourages people to just stack up on like one corner of the map and just run like 3 artillery pieces and just knock out a tower, and then just walk up with all your archers and just gun everybody down while the AI just kind of wanders around aimlessly on top of the walls. And that's just not how I like to do it. I like to just run up and just beat down the gates and just fight them in a fair fight. Just beat them down at the gates. And so that's what they can do a lot of times. Both the Skaven can do that and the Lizardmen can do that. And I just like that style of fighting a lot better. I think it's a lot more fun. I think it's a lot more challenging. Okay, other units. We eventually want to get pterodons. These are great. They give you nice flying presence. They attack from the air. They're decent. They do 75 damage, but there's only 10 in a stack. They can fire while moving, but they don't have splash damage at the normal rate. So these are okay, but they're not amazing. They're not that expensive for what they are, but they're okay. These are the ones that are really good. These do fire damage. You can drop fire bombs on people, and they do splash damage. It says it right there. If you look at the missile damage, armor piercing, and then explosive. That's what you want. So these are going to be more like your gyrocopters, your standard gyrocopters for the dwarves that do nice splash damage. That's going to be really sweet. So we definitely want to get the Pterodon Riders. Maybe just one or two of those in an army. Horned ones, these are great. Infantry busters. Now they are kind of expensive. These with the spears are very good against large. They have heavy armor piercing damage, 14, and they get 14 versus large. They have 28 pierce. So pretty strong, pretty low on the melee attack. Decent armor. So they're not like the best infantry in the game, but they're okay. 250's pushing it. It's a little on the expensive side, but they're okay. Now these are a little bit better. It's only 212 for these. They have higher melee attack. They still have a lot of piercing damage, even more piercing damage, and a really nice charge bonus. So I would really like to run these if we can, just like 1 or 2 packs of those. And these are like the really elite ones. These are super expensive, 375. Nice weapon strength, better melee attack. We probably won't get these a lot. They're just too much. Maybe near the end of the game they're okay, but I would rather just have bigger beasts, most likely, if I want to do that. So speaking of beasts, let's go ahead and look at these really quickly. So your Feral Stegodon, we have one in our army. You'll see it's very, very good against infantry. The Lizardmen in general just have awesome anti-infantry units. They just beat the snot out of anything that's infantry most of the time. Very, very good infantry solutions. It causes horror, and it can break down gates really quickly. And it has 140 armor, so we get 20 off of kroq-gar. So anything that's not armor piercing is just not going to damage these things. Then you have the Feral Bastillodon. This is actually, it's obviously a lot weaker than the Stegodon, but for 175, this is such an amazing bargain. I mean, look at this bad boy. He causes terror. Very important when you're charging people in the back. Decent speed of 40. 160 armor with the 20 off of kroq-gar bonus. He doesn't have high melee attack, but he also gets plus 15 versus infantry. So when he's fighting infantry, he's going to have 37 melee attack. Decent charge bonus, not amazing, but it's okay. All for 175 gold. Like, that is a bargain and a half. That's really, really good. And he probably has some sort of sweeping attacks, right? So he's going to hit multiple targets at once, as most monsters do. So yeah, he's pretty good. He's a great cost-efficient unit. And then you start getting these cool units up here. This is really why I like the Lizardmen. They have so many different tactics that you can use. Like, you've got your standard, really powerful ground and pound infantry. You've got your skirmishers over here. You've got your hardcore monstrous infantry. You've got your flying, flanking units. You've got your flying, flanking cav. You have your big monsters, and then you have your really cool, unique utility units that are very different from any other faction, right? So you've got this Bastillodon. It's only 250. It basically does the same thing. The difference is it has little skinks on top that fire missiles. Has a ton of ammo. So this is very similar to kind of like the Arachnarok Spider, if you ever played that with the Greenskins. And that it's a large monster that causes terror and has units on top that fire. It gets missile resistance, and the really cool thing, it gets 10 uses of Revivification Crystal, which heals units, and it can resurrect people. So you basically get 10 spell casts of regeneration on units. That sounds awesome. I'm very excited to try that out. So that doesn't cost any winds of magic either, which is amazing. So that's my homeboy right there. I haven't got to use those yet, but that thing is going to be sweet. I love regeneration magic. That's why I really like the wood elves. That's why I really like the undead. It's just super powerful. So I'm really, really wanting to get some of those. And that's a fantastic cost too. I mean, 250 for something like that is just a bargain and a half. Solar engine, this is 275, so it's a bit more expensive. But this has great utility as well, so it can fire something called a beam of Chotek. I haven't tried this out, but it's just like the other Bastiladons. But this actually has decent range, 240. So instead of like the 70 or whatever it normally is. And it fires something that does 400 damage. And like has piercing. And whenever it hits people, they're blinded. So they have 27 less melee attack and 26 less melee defense. So that is sweet. And I don't know the explosion radius of that. But if you can flank around from behind, especially if you just like charge into people and then just boom, hit them with this. Like that's such a great debuff. And it's going to be so much fun to try to micromanage because it's just so much different from other factions. That's what I like about the Lizardmen are not cut and dry. They're just, and that's what I liked about the Skaven too. They have all of these unique units that if you micro correctly and you have really cool army compositions, like the shredders for the Skaven that shred armor, and then you've got your plague priests and your rat ogres, and there's all these other things that you can constantly micro in and out in different ways to be powerful. So that looks really sweet. I want that. And then the Stegodon, this is getting steep. This one's expensive, so we may not get this one too much. It's 425 is a lot because you got to remember we're gonna have probably plus 35% cost on this by the time we get it. We'll have 2 armies. So it's going to be a bit on the expensive side. It only does 371 damage versus that Bastiladon doing like 400 something. It doesn't do the cool debuff. It only has poison. However, just like other Stegodons, it's bigger, it's beefier, it has more HP, does more damage in combat, has higher melee attack. So, you know, it's going to be a bit stronger, but the problem is it's just a little expensive. And then up from that, we have our top tier Predator. This is going to be my primary anti-large unit. I much prefer these to halberds. It is more expensive, but just really good at 101, 35 bonus versus large, huge armor piercing damage. Remember, he's going to get the 20 extra armor. And this is just a lot more mobile. The problem with halberds is they're very slow, and that anti-charge bonus doesn't matter that much because most people are not just going to run right into halberds. They might, but these, I think, will be much better than Temple Guard. They're a little bit more expensive. For sure. We might run one halberd with him, but I would feel much more comfortable using this against dragons than I would with the halberd infantry. But we'll just see how it pans out. He also has Frenzy, where he gets an extra 12% damage and plus 8 melee attack. So he has 36 melee attack with a 58 charge, and he gets an additional 35 bonus versus large. So, you know, he's going to have 73, 81 base melee attack against large units, and whenever he charges, he's going to get an extra 58. So he's hitting every single time he swipes. Trust me on that. So he's really, really strong. And now this is not that expensive either. This is only 400 gold. It is expensive, but when you consider some of those dragons are like 600 gold, for the high elves, this is a bargain. So that's not bad at all. Now this guy's like 500, and there's virtually no way we're going to get him. I mean, that missile damage, though, that's for real. That's 700 damage. And it can fire while moving. So you can kite with this bad boy. It doesn't have a lot of speed, but you can kite and run around if you want. And it only has 10 ammo, but that thing will bring the pain. 700 damage is quite a lot. I mean, 400 damage is quite a lot, too, with the blind mechanic. But anyway, so we probably won't get this one. We won't get the upgrade Stegodon stuff. We might try it out, but it'll be if we're super rich. But yeah, Feral Carnosaur, the Bastiladon with upgrades, and just normal Stegodons are going to be sweet. I'm really looking forward to those. Skinks are okay. Now, we can hire a Slan Mage Priest. That's something that you have to use a ritual for. So I have no idea. I've never summoned one of those. But I assume they're very, very good at magic. So we might just end up using those as our mages. If not, we have the option to go Heavens or Beasts. Beasts every time. Beast magic is so strong. What we have right now, this Skink is Heavens. I pointed out, it's got a couple good spells. It's got Midnight Wind, Harmonic Convergence. Those are okay. But if you look at beast magic, this is one of the best trees in the whole game. It was originally just for the beastmen, and then they gave it over to Empire, and especially after playing against this in multiplayer a lot, I'm here to tell you this stuff is strong. So look at this. It's not the best in the game. I actually think that the Lizardmen is the best in the game. The Plague School. I think that Vampire Magic is extremely strong, and Death Magic are both good. But this is up there. This is one of the better wars in the game. So this Wild Form, you can affect everybody for just 8. So it only costs 8 mana, and you can give everybody 25% weapon damage and an extra 30 armor, which is huge. And it lasts for 21 seconds. That's a really good bargain. Flock of Doom is pretty good cost efficient. I mean, it's only 6. Does just a little bit of damage, just spammable. Decent costs. Amber Spear is okay. It's if you want to hit like a dragon or something with this, just to do good penetration damage. It only costs 7. That's pretty strong. This Pelt is okay. I mean, it does give you 22% physical resistance for 50. Which, once again, notice, all of these are cheap. They're all very, very inexpensive. So that means you can use a lot of them. And I believe they're, it doesn't tell you here what their little casting bonus is, but I believe it's extra, extra magic regeneration. So it's pretty good. So in other words, if you can just keep spamming spells, it's pretty powerful. And you can cast it on everybody for 14. So if you want to give everybody 22% physical resistance, that's actually pretty decent. This is okay. Oh, they did add something extra to it. It used to just be speed and accuracy. Now it gives everybody minus 26 melee attack for 33 seconds. That's actually really strong. 11's on the steep side, but for 33 seconds, that's pretty good. Then the last one is you can do this one twice in a fight. Is summon a Manticore. So this is just a decent flying unit. It's a chaos unit. But it's pretty sweet. Yeah, you can't use if your army is full. So if you have a 19 stack or a 20 stack, you're not going to be able to use it. So we probably won't use it that much. Unlike the Skaven stuff, where you can cast it even if you have a full stack. So they didn't change that rule, unfortunately, for this. But everything else, it's a good bargain. It's not the best magic in the game, but it's pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead, and we just built something there. Let's go ahead and move forward here. Now, in terms of just other type of stuff you can build, public order is important, and then eventually you get tabulate of monuments, which gives you construction cost and construction time for capital and settlement buildings. That's really nice. And growth. So yeah, we want to get to tabulate of monuments. It's good. This is tabulate of Saurus. That's 5 melee and then 10 weapon strength and 5 melee attack. So that's why I want to get the Saurus one pretty quickly. We'll go over the rest of them later. What is this one? Tabulate of spawning. Here we go. That's just skink stuff. That's okay. It does give you Saurus recruitment, which is nice. This is alright. We'll get it later, but for now it's not crucial. So we could do this if we want more growth. We'd have to get this to tier 3 if we want the tech. We're not going to need to upgrade it more. So we can get this in our secondary town we're about to get here in a second. Money is always a good thing. See, tabulate of crafts. Tradable doesn't matter. Everyone's going to hate us. Industry's okay. Construction time for resource buildings is okay. I think this tabulate of monuments is very strong, though. Because a lot of your buildings are going to take, like your main core buildings to upgrade are going to take a lot of turns. You know, like 4 turns, 5 turns, 6 turns. So taking off 1 time on that's pretty important. Just trying to think of the layout here. We definitely want this in our main town. This is a pretty good 1-point wonder that we can sell later. It's pretty cheap right now. It's not as cheap as this is, though. And this would give us spawning. I'm likely going to need public order in every town anyways, though. I'm not sure. We'll have to look and see the geomantic web. You might have to upgrade this every time to get to the geomantic web upgrades. I'll have to check it out and see. We'll talk about the geomantic web after we do a fight here in a second. So it looks like we can either go for the growth, which is really important. We only have 20 growth right now, which sucks. I think we need a growth building. And I guess it's this one. Money is... Okay, we're going to get a lot of money from fights here in a second. Public order is also an issue. But... I think we can hold off on that for a moment or two. Let's just go ahead and get this. We can always sell it later if we need to. It's only 500 gold. So we can sell it back and get to 300 if we need to change it out for public order here in a minute. And this will allow us to get at least one turn on the tech while we're waiting on this one. Okay, so that's all good. Let's look at diplomacy really quickly. I want to make as many friends as I can early on because I just want to go in and just beat the snot out of the Skaven.
My throng stands ready.
I serve the king.
Okay, they don't mind us. They are really annoying down here to deal with.
What would you have of him?
But yeah, once again, you know, we can break it later if we have to. But I want to try to be friends with them. And then my goal is to wipe out the Skaven early on and try to play nice with the elves if I can. Don't care about them. Carrick Zorn's kind of whatever. Beastmen are at war with us. We have to be careful for that. And the Bowmen of Orion. I'm cool with being friendly with them. There's no reason to ever fight them. They don't really have territory we would want, so... They will eventually turn on us once we start doing rituals, but just for now, I'm just trying to get as many friends as I can to just to leave me alone so I can take out this Skaven. And then later on, if we have to kill him, we have to kill him. Okay. Oh, put the skink in here. I thought I already did that. Wait, he can't move any extra, can he? No. Okay, I was just talking about the skink. We got to put him in there, though. So yeah, I think the Lizardmen are going to be amazing, and I just like their tactical diversity. I've heard people say, oh, they're one of the easiest ones. I really don't think so. They do have very strong units, but they're very expensive. Like, you have to get... you have to have really good management of your money, because all their units, a lot of their units are pretty expensive, and you have to tactically use them correctly on the battlefield. Hey, I shattered. If you watch my Skaven campaign, I'll give you a minor spoiler here. I shattered the Lizardmen early on, even with the their legendary stat buffs. Absolutely just crushed them. I don't think I lost a single battle to Lizardmen. Just ran them over. And they were ranked the highest. They were #1 in terms of military strength, and I was number 50, and I just steamrolled them. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't competitive. There were lots of really good, tough, hard-fought battles. Like, I'm not saying that's a complete steamroll campaign, but I'm just saying that they aren't as overpowered as I've heard a couple of people saying out there. I think that it's still pretty hard, any way you cut it. The reason that I want to play them, though, is because they have such great tactical diversity, only rivaled by the Skaven. I love the Skaven. The Skaven are awesome. They're a lot of fun. But the Lizardmen look very unique and fun, too, because they have so many different tactical applications. They're not just your standard, get your infantry, get your bows, get your artillery, go exploit the AI in sieges, take some towns, you know, and that type of stuff. There are some other fun races out there, too. I'm not saying they're all like that, but I'm just saying that I really like the tactical diversity of the Lizardmen. The Dark Elves look pretty cool, too. I like the High Elves, too. The High Elves just don't have cost reductions on... No, I don't want to treasure hunt this. I want to occupy it. Now, here's my opinion on treasure hunt. You can treasure hunt, but it costs you an entire turn. And on Legendary, I have a 1,700 gold army here. And I'm losing map position by not taking this. So that means I have to wait one turn longer to go down. That means the Skaven's going to get even stronger before I go down there. That means people are going to get even closer to the rituals by going down there. Every turn counts. And so I know this treasure hunts are fun. They're cool. Like, you might get something out of it. But you can't do them on Legendary, I don't think. Like, you have to colonize and just move on. Because you're not going to have enough time to mess with that. So I'm just going to go ahead and colonize. I know. I hope that's not too much anti-fun. But I just don't have time. Basically, unless it's going to give me more than 1,700 gold, and just like, I mean, it would have to give me at least 5,000 gold for it to be worth it. Because that, once again, it costs me time. Because they're going to power up by the time I get down there to them. They're building more rats right now. Okay, so it hurts my units to do that. That's okay. Do I wait? I might just wait one more turn. Because as you can see, this upkeep's serious. I only have enough to build like maybe 7 more Saurus, and then I'm going to be like broke. So I think I'm going to wait on the shields. Okay, we've got to upgrade this. I'm only getting 60 income? My god, seriously? This gives you no income. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Money's a thing. I should have just taken the taxation off last turn. I didn't realize I was only getting 60. Just take the taxes off if you're making less than like 100 or 200. Just take it off. It's worth it to save the public order for later. Okay, we spotted them now. Now these guys I really want to try to be friendly with. The reason is I really, really want a confederation. They have a lot of delicious territory here. So I really want to try to confederate with them. I don't know if they're going to go for it or not, but... They are a minor power, so it's possible I could eventually confederate with them. I can't offer them gold right now, I just don't have enough. But they are also at war, or they're not at war with, but they hate Clan Mordkin and the Lizardmen. So as I go through and bust those units up, they're really going to like, I'm going to gain some favor with them. That's good. Netrarch Brotherhood, don't really care about. Yeah, they're not going to like us. That's all there is to it. Now, this got very powerful in my Skaven campaign. They took over like this entire northern half. Most of the undead seem to do very well in that regard. Okay, so we're going to wait on shields. They're just marginally more money, and they're going to give me 6 extra weapon strength. Okay, tabular spawning. So we'll at least get a turn here on this. Once again, we're going to swap down to tabulate of the Saurus, but this at least gives us, you know, 1 turn we can work on this. We will get to some good fights. I'm just going to beeline right down there and just start smacking these Skaven around. I just like to introduce people to the race and my thought process behind it in the first episode, in the first couple. And we'll talk a little bit more about skills and techs and stuff like that, and probably in the next episode, because I just want to make sure we get some good fights in here. Oh, top knots. Nice. So they occupied this up here. So this, when they do the overall grand campaign, I think this is going to be like the old world over here. Because this feeds into, if you look at this right here, Southern Badlands. So that's the very southern part of the original map. And if you scroll up a little bit here, you can kind of see some text. This is like Albion, whatever. So this is up near the top where Norska is, I believe. This is like the kind of Norskan tip over here. And then you have, this is where like Bretonia and stuff would be. This is like a miniaturized version of it that's not fleshed out yet. And then this is the Southern Badlands. So Southern Badlands are going to cut like this probably. So it'll be interesting. It's not going to be the full length of the first one plus the full length of the second one. They think that'll just be too crazy, but it is going to be really big. There's probably a map out there somewhere that's already been released that I haven't seen, but whatever. It's going to be a lot of fun. I was kind of tempted not to do the Lizardmen yet because they would be one that I would want to do on the grand campaign. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And the Skaven. I might just do a new campaign with those guys. But the Dark Elves would be a lot of fun too. I might do the Dark Elves on the grand campaign. We'll see. And I want to do some mods too, but I just really wanted to get in here and do just a campaign with them while I'm at it. Oh, I forgot. I can't hire... it takes off one of my hiring attributes if I take off taxes. But... that's alright, whatever. Oh, wow. Well, we're out of gold. But we can't hire any more than that anyways. I guess this is what we're going to get. We're going to get 10, plus the skinks. And we're going to be a little injured. We could get 1 more next turn, probably. Maybe. Upkeep's going to go down. Yeah, so... yeah, we are... and maybe I can't even upgrade this yet. Maybe I just go for 1 more. Is that even worth it? I'm so broke. I think so. That's going to give me growth. The other one, I think I just have to turn it into at least the tier 1. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was not the best decision to go over there and take that, because that does injure my units quite a lot. Maybe I should have just done the skink and hired and gone south and then come back and get this later. Or maybe I should have done the money building instead of the growth building. I think we'll be okay, though. I think we'll be okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop off in the main town here. Heal a little bit. A little bit more. There we go. We'll hire one more. I want one with spears, just in case we face something that's large. We'll have an answer to it. Rat ogres, primarily. Tabular. Oh, I forgot to switch over last turn. That was a mistake. I should have done that first. It's alright. Okay, let's just make sure we don't have anything else going on here.
It is time. Aye. Let it.
How can I assist you? Behold the Phoenix Court in all its splendor. Lord of the Glade, you have been granted access to the halls of Athelloren.
I'll go with military access. I could use them as a trade partner later, potentially.
Unthinkable.
Okay, not yet. Alright. Yeah, usually I'm just like raring to go much faster. I'm just trying to get the oh, nice. That's exactly what I want. I just really wanted to set this up first, and I need to get a money building over here, obviously, like immediately. 100 gold, so that would give us 100 extra. I still don't think it's worth it for the public order, not yet. Okay, so with the skink, I guess we can do harmonic convergence upgraded. I mean, we need to get to midnight curse, so that's the biggie. Alright, now we get extra replenishment, which is good. I could hire a skink, but probably not necessary. And I can't buy anything over here, can I? How much is this money building? 750. Man, I am broke. I am like really broke. Okay, well, we're about to get some money though. We're about to start busting some people up. About to lay the smackdown on some Skaven. Alright, let's do it. Oh geez, I just saw him run in there. Alright, so there's probably going to be like 220 stacks in there, potentially, with a garrison. Wait, why am I... Why is it showing me him? He didn't upgrade, did he? It's just saying, bro, you're very close to an ambush, like, watch out. I know, I'm about to go into an ambush. I think we could beat him, though. Now let's do this. Okay. Okay, so it's just 120 stack. I don't know where the other one went. But yeah, so they do have some rat ogres. Garrison settlement. Everything else we should be able to deal with. These are really annoying to deal with, because I just don't have a lot that can run them down. But I think we can beat them. Well, we didn't come over here not to fight, so let's do this. So we just want to completely pound their infantry, kill their lord, and then those things will eventually run out of ammo. We can send the Saurus with shields if we have to, just over there just kiting them. Because they're going to have the missile block chance. Okay, so these are just our standard fighter units. I want the kroq-gars to flank, so I want these to be kind of my flanker units. We'll use these as our shooters, and then these as kind of our specialty units back here. So one that we can send fighters, and then the spears we want to send into the want to get the high ground as much as we can over here. The spears we want to send into the rat ogres. That's why we brought them. And we can put that on kroq-gar. We'll have kroq-gar solo out there, Lord. Yeah, a lot of these guys are shrouded. Cold-blooded is good, but you don't want to use that while you're in combat. You want to use that while someone's like running. It gives you some extra regeneration. Oh, not that one. Fire these into them. God, I should have sent the, damn it, now they're enraged. We actually do not want to go into spears with our Stegodon, so let's just charge right here. Man, they really picked off that one Saurus group. I should have sent the other ones over there. Yeah, keep these guys out of the spears. Where are those? Okay, they're the rat ogres. Oh, I could have put harmonic convergence. That wouldn't have really helped there, though. Yeah, let's use these guys because they have the shields. That'll help a ton. Oh, geez, he's way back there. Crap, that was a miss micro. Where are these spears? Bring these guys around. I'm gonna use the cold-blooded on these guys. No, actually, crap, I shouldn't have done that. They're actually in combat. Okay, get around. Let's go, boys. Come on. No, get through right now. Run past these guys. Okay, yeah, he can fight here. That's fine. You guys need to get through and get on these rat ogres right now. Where are these spears? Oh, they got enraged. No, they're not. Nick Kite can get around. Yeah, we need to... Damn it, it's so hard to get in here. They're gonna go down. Get over here and charge these guys in the back. And kroq-gar is still here. He's strong. Has anyone rallied? They're coming back. Alright, get back in here. Okay, we got them to rout. Go ahead and charge them in the back. Just gotta keep charging them in the back with these terror units, and that's really how you start cranking into them. Oof. Not my finest micro of all time, but... Go now, he's going berserk. That's the thing, is so a lot of times your units will start going berserk and you can't control them early on, which is kind of frustrating, but... You know, considering what else, everything else they can do that's really strong, then it's understandable. Come on, boys, get back in there. They do come out of berserk eventually. Like, it is looking a little rough. I was worried we were going to lose, but it's actually kind of close. I didn't get as many flanks as I wanted to in here, but we did finally manage to get the Stegadon to charge in the back and get them to flee. They will rally back eventually, but if you just get them to flee just to give you some breathing room, you might be able to pull it out. It's still not certain yet. It's looking a little rough, but that's Stegadon and these kroq-gars. Kroq-gars are really hurt, but there's still 8 of them there. So it looks like there's only like 10% of them left. But they just all are really low health. So it's very evenly split up damage. Oh, we're trying to kill their lord. Yeah, let's just get their lord. If we can get their lord to die, then everyone else will run. That's what I'm telling you, dude. These big monsters, that's where it's at. That is where the real action is. Okay, we got that lord to run. This is why you need a combat lord on Legendary early on, because this guy, like, if I didn't have kroq-gar, if I had Mazdamundi or something, forget it. There's no way. Come on, Rampage guys, get in here. They're just kind of doing their thing. Oh, we just lost another kroq score. Okay, we got him. Woo! Man, that was a nail biter. God. Yeah, I definitely could have microed that a little bit better for sure. There's just so many though. I mean, I've got like a 10 stack here and they have like 32 or something. Maybe not that much, but they have 3 times as many battalions as I have. It's just that feral Stegodon. We need to kill as many as we can. I think he's in the town, so I think it's going to kill them all, but... So we still have 7 kroq-gars and our Stegodon. So now if they come over and attack me again next turn before I get to replenish, that's going to be really bad. But we'll see. Get him, son. What are you doing? Come on. Oh, I have the guard mode, so he won't chase. The reason that you put on guard mode is it allows your units to disengage a lot better. I don't have any empirical proof from that, but from playing a lot of multiplayer last fall, you know, one of the biggest things is trying to get your units to disengage so that you can reposition. That's one of the most infuriating things, especially about multiplayer, is sometimes your units just will not disengage. But that just helps them disengage more because I don't know why. It feels like it works. Maybe it's a placebo effect of some sort. But if you put them on guard mode, it feels like they will disengage faster or more cleanly from enemy troops. So for example, if you need to cycle charges, which is really important for a lot of units, especially like the Stegodons, because they have pretty low base melee attack. 30, but if you charge cycle them, in other words, if you back them out of combat and then charge them back in, they get a fresh 76 for 15 seconds. It's decaying over 15 seconds, but they get that extra bonus. So especially with large monsters and cavalry, you want to be charge cycling them. So you want to be backing them out and then getting them back in so that you get that charge bonus over and over again. I actually don't want to kill him so that if we have to fight him again, if they aren't in the town, I just wanted to be injured. That's close enough, whatever. Yeah, that was a legit Pyrrhic victory. Sometimes with Skaven, I just absolutely crush them, and I get Pyrrhic. Yeah, I mean, they had 3,300 units. So yeah, they are all Skaven, but you gotta remember they're legendary Skavens. They get a lot of extra bonuses. They get bonuses to leadership, and I know they get bonuses to leadership, fatigue, missile accuracy, and I highly suspect they get some bonuses to things like melee attack and melee defense. You can't see them on the cards in battle, but it's been confirmed in forums that they get a lot of extra bonuses that aren't listed. Okay, good. They were in the town. We do kill all of them. And we finally got a nice infusion of cash here. So that's delightful. Get a level up. And I just want to occupy it. Now, with these different options, sacking means that you bust up all the buildings. And you bust up all the buildings and then you don't take it. So one of the best options a lot of times, if you don't need like a tier 4 or tier 5 town, then you can sack, run away, take the money, it'll lower it usually by 1 tier, and then you occupy and it'll lower it by another tier, typically. Now your buildings might be busted up if you sack and then occupy, but if you're going to sell those buildings anyways, then it might be worth it. So typically the best thing to do, if you have the option, it depends on your race, is sack if you want money and then occupy afterwards. And the reason is this -10, when you sack, applies to them because they still own the property. And then when you occupy, it does not give you that -10 provincial instability again, which equals 55 public order over 10 turns. Negative public order. So never loot and occupy. Almost never, unless you're not going to have enough... unless you're not going to have enough time or like enough movement to sack and then occupy. You almost always want to sack and then occupy, and it helps your public order. Unless you just want to sit there and farm rebellions for a little bit, then you could do it, but I don't like to get bogged down and hamstringed by rebellions. I like to advance the map. So loot and occupy is almost always the worst of options that you have if you're a standard race. The Skaven have to loot and occupy every single time they take a settlement. But I think we're just going to normally occupy, and the reason is it's going to give us a port, and ports give us money, and if we sack it, it's going to make us repair the port. So it's going to make us repair the main town and the port, and that'll be over 1,000 gold. So we would get replenishment, which is good, but I don't want those damaged ports because I don't want to have to pay for those repairs. So we're just going to occupy. Okay, so we completed a province. We get an extra 1,000, which, thank God. And we fought Clan Mordkin. We get another bonus infusion of gold. Issue a commandment. We get even more. Okay, so we can look at commandments really quick, and that's probably going to be pretty close to the end of the turn. Now, how this works is when you have geomantic web strength upgraded. Now, I think that means when you own more property in the geomantic web. But that might also mean that you have to buy these special buildings that we've looked at here. So that might mean that you have to buy building, 3, 4, and 5 to get it. Reinforces geomantic web, directly improving commandments. So that might mean that you have to do this to get all of your commandments here. I'm not really sure. If we look at the geomantic web, you can see whether it's red, and it tells you here. It's like if it's red, then it's really weak. If it's orange, it's a little bit better. So we would probably want this place, maybe? That's another, like, major place for geomantic webs. Owned and neutral settlements, ruined and enemy settlements. The strength of the geomantic web affects the power of commands issued across your territory. A settlement must be linked to another equal or higher strength to operate at its maximum potential. Okay, so you only need to build it up to tier 5 in a place that's linked with other places. So somewhere in the middle of your empire. So like right here, if this was tier 5, I think it would make this and this also tier 5. So you don't have to go to tier 5 in every town, but you want to do it in some towns. I believe that's how it works. Okay. So we did get this. Gives us 150 extra gold. Or we gotta tax the province now. So now we get that extra 290. Because now it's probably worth for 4 public order to get 390. Okay, and so now we need Cursed Jungle. Public order is obviously a big deal. I don't think we can trade this really that well. Now recruitment cost for skinks and chameleon skinks is good. Oh, I didn't talk about chameleon skinks either. If there's a skink chief, we definitely want him. He's going to give us extra replenishment, which is huge, and he has some other stuff that's kind of cool as well. I mean, we can look at him really quickly here. I'm probably over time. You can ride a Stegodon, Pterodon. Let's Gorilla Fighter. Extra speed. So, decent little fighter. I mean, the main reason to get him is replenish troops. Missile resistance. Okay. Do you need a troop replenisher? Bottomless quiver. Okay, it's just his ammo. Trying to see if he has any like bonuses for other people, piercing shots. Yes, I'm not entirely sure like just how useful he'll be. He looks like okay, sort of, kind of, but the fact that he does replenish troops is a huge deal. So we're gonna have to have those in our army just for the replenished troops, if nothing else. Yeah, and we need the money. Obviously, we need the money. We're really broke right now. So let's go ahead and we'll upgrade Serpent Coast. Or we can upgrade Cursed Jungle. Let's upgrade Cursed Jungle. I think this money will be worth it. 270. So we're getting extra 90 for 1,500. That's not amazing, but we can get some upgrades to make that even more cost efficient. Oh, those skink lookouts. I think we need this because we're going to need a tier 2. And walls. But not until level 3. We will need this to level 3 eventually, though, because this is the main place it's going to get attacked. Probably a Serpent Coast if people attack us, so we need to get that up to tier 3. Okay, and our web, what do we want? We get growth, public order, income. Sounds good to me. And I don't know what plague is. Now, that might be something later in the game where you get like a huge plague across everybody. I'm not really sure. Recruit experience is pretty nice, but it's hard to turn down growth, public order, and money. What's up, Chief? What? No, I'm recording a thing. I'll be done in a little bit. If you want to feed her, then I can. Okay, so we'll talk more about kroq-gar's stuff here, probably in the next episode. I think we want Root Marcher next. I mean, Root Marcher... I do like Root Marcher a lot, but at the same time, I really need like my units to be able to fight, because we're going to be in trouble. If they attack me next turn, which they might be able to reach me from there. I'm not entirely sure if they can. They might be able to do it, but I think I really need that leadership. And then we'll get Root Marcher after that. That 5 leadership's a big deal. Then I need to be able to hire a couple of units here. Just beat them down with the Crocs, I think. Zaris Warriors with shields. Yeah, there goes all our money. But this will be a pretty beast mode army that we should be able to go down there and just crush some Skaven with them, I think. I don't think they're going to have that many more rat ogres. Not this early.
Not enough warpstone.
Now, is this... Yeah, that's going to... They do have walls in this Skaven city, so it's going to be something we're going to have to siege, which is going to be annoying. Save some money. I could just go ahead and consolidate some of these. Save a little income there. Then we can hire maybe one more batch. Well, we're not going to have enough gold to hire another batch. Maybe we can fight these beastmen and get some money next turn off of them. Either way, I think that's going to be it. So we'll finish this turn, and then that'll be the end of the episode. Not yet, soon enough. How much do they want? If I can't really afford a gift, but... What, 925? Means they kind of like us. The more they want, the less they like you, as far as a small gift goes.
My throng stands ready.
Lord of the Phoenix, it is an honor to welcome you to the Phoenix.
These guys usually love to do trade agreements, because that lets them spy on you, and it does give you some extra cash. So if we do get some stuff, we could trade with them.
Lord of Athelloren, you have been granted access to the halls of Athelloren.
I don't want to do a defensive alliance. That's not usually a good idea. You could get roped into wars you don't want to. So like if I do a defensive alliance with them and then these beastmen declare war, or not beastmen, these wizardmen declare war on them, then I'm going to have to break an alliance either way, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. And we should be able to hire 2 more next turn, and then we can go rowdy on them. He's got to be a little cautious early on, because you can get completely swarmed. Okay. Underway intercept, eh? No, we're not going to intercept that. We do get to peep their army, though, so they do have some halberds and this guy. Okay, so that means they're going to be right knocking on our door next turn, but we're going to get those extra warriors, and we're going to get the extra replenishment. So we do not want to fight them in the gutter yet. And they probably just burrowed under right next to me, yeah. Trying to bait us. For real, dude? For real. They're gonna siege me. So that I don't get that recruitment. Wow. So I don't get the recruitment, and I don't replenish, because the beastmen want to come over and siege me. Okay, so I could get recruitment cost minus 50% for Sars Warriors. Or I can get a free hero. I want that hero. I can use him in combat at least. Okay, it's ranked 20 when you can get that. That's still pretty good, though. Jeez. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to try it out next episode and see if I can beat this. I don't think I can get in there this turn. If I beat the Beastmen, I'm going to have to run from these Skaven. And that means they're going to take this town. Damn, it's not going to let me cancel it. I think I get my money back if they sack it, but I'm going to have to run back to my main territory if I beat the Beastmen. So they're colluding against us here to stop me from regenerating, which is pretty frustrating. But we'll have to crush them. We'll figure it out next turn. I think we can beat these Beastmen, but we're going to have to run back into our territory to replenish. We'll put this guy in our army. We'll hire a couple more Saurus Warriors, and we'll come back down and give him the beatdown. Yeah, that's a little annoying. A little annoying, but that's all right. Anyways, thank you very much. We'll deal with it next time. Hope you enjoy it. It looks like it's going to be a tough campaign. They're going to keep messing with us. It's definitely not an easy one, I'll tell you that. So, anyways, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.